every object that you come across, and every piece of culture and music that you experience, and every negative thing that you experience, all of that is a reflection of what is inside of you and what is possible for your consciousness to experience through your own state of consciousness.
Get up, everybody move.
Peace and love, everybody that watches my YouTube channel. As you can see, I am in the car, but we are being safe. Just want to throw that out there. My name is Soul Expression, and very happy to be with you. And on today's episode of Get Your Mind Right, I want to talk a little bit about judgment, because we're very hard on ourselves and we're very hard on the world. And this is a very old habit that maybe it served you in the beginning of your life, in the beginning stages of your truth-seeking opportunity. But judgment is not something that you will be able to take with you as you ascend to higher and higher vibrations and greater states of consciousness. Okay, so judgment, I call it the silent opportunity to disrupt one's own otherwise peaceful enjoyment. Have you ever noticed that when you experience any sort of judgment yourself, right? When you're doing something and then you make a mistake and then you experience some self-judgment. Have you ever noticed that even while you were making the mistake, before the judgment started, there was quite a peaceful atmosphere around you? You were not necessarily in a place where you weren't enjoying yourself. You were enjoying yourself before the judgment started. Well, this is true about judgment of all kinds, right? Even sometimes when you think you're judging something because you're justified to, and of course I'm talking about like negative judgment, right? Judging something as good or fun or neutral doesn't really apply here. But judging something as anything negative, any type of connected with negative, even if it's positive words, but the feeling is negative, all of that counts. Okay, and so have you noticed that when you feel a judgment, right? Let's say you're watching something, President Trump says, let's open businesses tomorrow of all kinds, and you have a judgment. Well, before, unless another judgment was already taking control of your emotional state, because the news can do that to you, but aside from that, if you were not judging something already, then before that judgment happens, you're actually enjoying yourself. Okay, I want you to really reflect on your own experience with this question here. And another thing to take into account when you go about your day and when you're noticing, how much of your day is spent negatively judging your surroundings or yourself, that everything you bring up, you also bring to, right? Everything you express will always return back to you. In my last video, I talked a little bit about karma. And basically what you express is always a silent statement to yourself that this is who I am, right? Because you're choosing to express it. And the world expresses back to you that which you are. You attract what you are, not what you want, if you ever heard that statement. And so attracting what you are does not only mean in terms of things that come to you that you can use that are otherwise inanimate objects, but also people, situations, circumstances, and life changes. All of that gets attracted to you, and then you do with it your best judgment, whatever you think is right. And so, keeping that in mind, as you start to be more aware of when you are experiencing judgment and participating in, some sort of negative judgment, that you are expressing this judgment and inviting it to come back to you, you will start to, when you reflect on this, you will start to see that you have created via, these mental actions of judgment and things like that, you have created space in your own life for that to come back to you. And you can choose to create space only for that which you want and that which you desire for yourself in the world. Okay, you can choose to only create space through good judgment. And so it will come back to you, but your more positive attributes will play out in the world as what's coming back to you, because the sum total of what your subconscious mind takes to be yourself is now different than it used to be, and it's now different than it was when you were always expressing this negative type of judgment. And maybe not always, but we do get a little judgy as human beings. So I just I really wanted to hit that home, that when you are judging, you're attracting to yourself that which you are doing, what you're expressing. Everything you express, you attract. What you bring up, you also bring towards yourself, or you also bring in. Okay? And so, last but not least, when it comes to judgment, is just know that eventually, as you ascend higher and higher into different states of consciousness, that you will one day realize that everything is a reflection of yourself. Okay? So you will only be judging yourself. And if you've already built up a habit of negatively judging everything, then when you realize that everything is yourself, you're going to feel pretty bad. Okay? You're going to feel heavy. Okay? And we want to avoid all of that mess. So I want to encourage you today to already start to remind yourself as often as you can that everything that has ever happened and ever will happen, and every object that you come across, and every piece of culture and music that you experience, and every negative thing that you experience, all of that is a reflection of what is inside of you and what is possible for your consciousness to experience through your own state of consciousness. Okay? So start to realize that, and also start to take into account how much of the time in your average day are you spending complaining about something, internally or externally, right? But especially externally, because that's like an outward expression, creating space for that to come right back to you. Okay? My name again is Soul Expression, and leave in the comments anything that you've learned from your experience of judgment and or your experience of letting go of judgment and practicing forgiveness and self-forgiveness and these things. Leave in the comments for me something like that, so that we can dialogue a little bit and I can get some input. And once again, I do teach these things as a coach and a guide, so you can check the links in the description and hit me up if you want to connect. I also have a online course called Mentalism Mechanics, and just contact me through the either Facebook or Instagram link to get more information on that. And I can't wait to see you all in the next video. Peace and love. So if you're new to Ufulu Child, make sure you subscribe to get more mind mastery content dropped straight into your YouTube feed. If you enjoyed today's episode of Get Your Mind Right, let me know by clicking that like button, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video. Peace and love.